Ifunanya moved into the small Face Me I Face You compound in Surulere, Lagos 3 years ago after her heartbreak with Emeka, a man who left her suddenly for a richer woman in Port Harcourt. At 32, she had promised herself that she would only focus on her work, her peace and her future. But Lagos had a funny way of forcing you into other people's problems, especially when you lived in a compound where doors are closer than siblings and privacy is a rumor that never survives past 5 minutes. The compound had 10 rooms arranged side by side, and by her 3rd month there, Ifunanya had already learned 2 hard truths. 1. Nothing you own is truly yours because someone will always just want to borrow it for 2 hours. And 2. You can never hide your business because gossip is there to carry it for you faster and free of charge. At first, she thought she would be safe since she kept to herself, avoided quarrels and minded her business, which was a small online thrift clothing business that helped her survive Lagos rent. But she didn't count on having a neighbor like Tony, the 33-year-old compound borrowing chairman, who carried his cunning smile like a spare key and used it to unlock favors from anyone, especially her. Tony was tall, dark, and had the kind of smile that could disarm even the angriest landlord. He wasn't working at the time, but he always carried himself like a man expecting an alert any moment. He dressed neatly, spoke well, and whenever he wanted something, he told his stories with such heartbreaking conviction that saying no to him felt like committing a crime. The first time he came to borrow something from her, he had knocked gently and his voice trembled like someone who had just received bad news. He held his chest dramatically. Sister Ifunanya, abeg, help me. My mother's insulin is in the fridge and NEPA took the light since morning. If the thing spoil, na my head then go use swear. Abeg, just borrow me your generator for 2 hours. Ifunanya, who was soft-hearted by nature and raised never to ignore a neighbor's plea, gave him a generator without thinking twice. However, that 2 hours turned into 3, and the next morning, he returned the generator with an empty fuel tank, smiling shyly as he said, "God bless you for this kindness. Sister Ife, my mother, they greet you specially." She believed him until the following week when his sick mother visited, calling his name loudly outside the compound, perfectly healthy and even carrying 5 buckets of garri on her head. Well, by then, she had already lent him the generator 3 more times. Sometimes, he said it was for his younger brother's WAEC studies. Other times, it was for an urgent online interview that could change his destiny. And when she tried to hesitate, Tony would sigh, lower his head and pretend to cry. "Sister Ife, now you God sent to me for this compound though. If you no help me, I no get anybody else." And so she helped him again and again. But not everyone bought Tony's sweet stories. The compound women, especially Mama Bosse, the borehole gossip champion, always had something to say whenever they gathered to fetch water. One morning, as if Naya went to fill her bucket, Mama Bosse leaned close and warned, "Sister Ife, shine your eyes oh, this Tony fit borrow your future one day. Na so him borrow 20 liters of kerosene from that woman for room 7 last year. Up till now, it vanished like Lagos breeze." Another neighbor, Shade, laughed loudly and said, "If Tony ever invites us for wedding, we go wear uniform lace for Borrowers Association of Nigeria. That boy no get shame." The women laughed, but Ifunanya just smiled and walked away, convincing herself that she was only helping a struggling neighbor and God would reward her kindness one day. But life has a way of exposing secrets when you least expect it. One Friday night, after a long day of packaging thrift clothes for delivery, Ifunanya settled into her bed, scrolling lazily through Instagram reels and enjoying the rare cool breeze that slipped through her curtain. It was past 9 p.m. and the compound had gone unusually quiet, except for the sound of a generator working. Suddenly, she heard soft, playful and feminine giggles. She frowned and lowered her phone's volume. Then, she heard a low thumping of music coming from Tony's room. At first, she thought NEPA had restored power, but the corridor bulb was still dark. That meant only one thing. Someone was running on generator power. Curiosity gripped her chest and slowly she went outside, tiptoed to Tony's window and carefully peeped in. What she saw made her lips part in shock. Inside Tony's room, it looked as if Lekki Club Night had relocated to Surulere. A Bluetooth speaker pulsed brightly on his table. A ring light glowed behind him, and Sandra, Tony's flashy girlfriend with a fiery red wig, 3-inch lashes and gold anklets, sat cross-legged on his mattress, sipping malt and laughing like a TikTok influencer. Her iPhone charger was plugged into the wall. The room was cool as the small standing fan rotated smoothly, blowing Sandra's wig. Tony sat beside her, pretending to scroll through his phone while stealing glances at her legs like a teenager in love. And all of this, every single bulb, every single charge, every fake soft life vibe was powered by Ifunaya's generator. She stood frozen by the window. Her mind ran through all the excuses Tony had made. His sick mother, his brother Waek, and the destiny-changing interview. Her chest pounded as the realization dawned on her. This boy has been playing me all this time. She stepped away from the window quietly, but her chest was burning with anger, embarrassment and betrayal. Tony, enjoy your Friday night too, because by next week, it go be your last. The next day after she discovered Tony's Lekki lounge, Ifunaya was more quiet than usual. She didn't want to react without understanding how deep Tony's betrayal truly went. She wanted answers, and in Lagos compounds, answers always start at one place, the public borehole. That Saturday morning, the compound women gathered at the borehole with their buckets, but gossip flowed faster than the water. Ifunaya stood among them, pretending to focus on rinsing her plastic keg while her ears stayed open. Mama Bosse, the unofficial compound news broadcaster, was in her element, so she spoke carelessly. Una don't notice say Tony dey run generator past everybody for this compound? If NEPA take light by 8 o'clock, that boy dey switch on generator before 8:05 sharp, and he no get generator. I no understand the mathematics at all. Shade laughed. Mama Bosse, na destiny interviewing gets now. Tony dey find work for CNN. Dem no dey off light for that kind Zoom call. They all laughed, but Mama Bosse was not done. She lowered her voice and leaned closer. Make una dey watch am o. Last night, I see one small girl with red wig enter in room. She carry eyelashes like broom, phone like flat screen TV, and I swear say I hear Buga song blasting inside. The other women gasped dramatically. Red wig Sandra again? That one no dey rest, Shade said, rolling her eyes. Ifunaya remained silent, raising her keg slowly, but she had confirmed two things. Sandra was a regular weekend visitor, and the generator he borrowed from her wasn't for any dying mother or destiny-changing interview. Still, she needed more proof before she acted. Later that evening, Ifunaya sat inside her room with her window slightly open, pretending to be busy folding thrift clothes while she watched Tony's movements. Around 6 p.m., she saw him walking back into the compound, carrying a black nylon bag, more likely cold drinks and snacks for Sandra. She shook her head. You are bold, oh. Tony, you are very bold. Then, almost as if God had heard her silent prayer for confirmation, she overheard voices near the corridor. It was Tony and his friend Chike talking. She tiptoed closer to her door and it dropped. Chike asked him, guy, now what for you? Every Friday na flexing. Where you dey see money for all this enjoyment? Tony laughed proudly. My babe no dey do candle romance now. We dey on steady power. Soft life na steady content. Chike frowned. Soft life, abi? You no know say na wasting of fuel be that? Tony grinned. Fuel care? Na sister Ifunaya dey power the romance now. Na her generator dey work overtime. That woman too soft. Ifunaya froze from where she was as her anger mixed with shame. Tony was not only using her, he was even boasting about it. Chike burst into laughter and slapped Tony on the back. Tony, you wicked though. Sister Ify no go ever believe say she dey sponsor your date nights. Ifunanya closed her eyes for a moment and inhaled deeply. By the time they finished talking and walked away, her decision was made. That night, she knocked on Mama Bose's door. The woman opened, but suspicious curiosity was written all over her face. Sister Ify, this one where you dey knock my door by this time. Hope no wahala. Ifunanya stepped inside and closed the door. Mama Bose, I want to disgrace Tony and his borrowing spirits, but I need your help. Mama Bose's eyes lit up instantly, as if someone had switched on her personal ring lights. Operation Pepper Tony, talk fast, Sister Ify, you don't find correct partner. Ifunanya leaned closer and whispered her plan. By the time she finished, Mama Bose slapped her thigh, laughing so loudly that she had to cover her mouth. E go sweet die. That boy no go recover from this shame. Friday arrived and as usual, Tony came knocking again around 7:45 p.m. Sister Ifunanya, Ejo, Nepa don disgrace us again o. Abeg, just 2 hours. I won't finish that interview video where I tell you about. Ifunanya smiled sweetly. Tony, you know say I no dey fit deny you anything now. Take am, God bless your hustle. Tony beamed like a lottery winner, thanked her and carried the generator away happily. Barely 15 minutes later, his room transformed into a Friday night paradise. The corridor walls vibrated slowly from his Bluetooth speaker, blasting Rema's Baby Calm Down, and a ring light glowed from behind his curtain. Sandra giggled loudly and boasted with her fake American accent. Babe, you see my TikTok dance today? E go blow, sha. Tony laughed and held her hand like a man who had just discovered wealth. Baby girl, forget TikTok. Tonight na for us. This night go sweet die. Ifunanya sat quietly in her room, sipping zobo while pretending to scroll through Instagram, but her ears were on high alert. By 8:20 p.m., Mama Bose, the core mastermind of the operation, knocked on her door. Sister Ify, you ready? Ifunanya answered, more than ready. Quietly, Ifunanya slipped into the narrow corridor leading to the back where the generator cable was connected. She bent down, switched Tony's plug off and reconnected her generator wire to the corridor bulb switch. Now, her generator kept running perfectly, but Tony's entire Lekki lounge shut down instantly. Inside his room, chaos erupted. Sandra screamed, "Babe! My iPhone go soon off. My ring light don die. Wetin happen now?" Tony panicked and muttered, "E no fit be fuel now. Sister Ify give me full tank." Sandra jumped up and held her almost dead iPhone like a wounded soldier. "Tony, if my TikTok video no upload tonight, I swear I go vex so. My followers dey wait for me." Tony rushed outside barefoot and headed straight for the generator. That was when he froze. Half the compound, including Mama Bose, Shade, Chike, and 4 curious children with gala in their hands, were already gathered there, waiting silently like a live audience. Mama Bose stood in front like a proud referee. Tony, so this na the sick mama insulin wey you dey use Sister Ify generator do abi? The interview video abi? Today, we don't see who they do the interview now. The crowd erupted in laughter instantly. Even Chike, who had been Tony's gossip partner, bent over holding his stomach. Tony stammered, trying to salvage his pride. Mama Bose, no be like that so. I get plenty things to handle inside though. Before he could finish, Sandra stepped outside dramatically, holding her pink overnight bag like a baby and shouting at him. "So now borrowed generator you dey use form big man for me? Tony, you don't get shame? You tell me say na your generator dey run this soft life oh." The crowd gasped loudly. Someone exclaimed, so she didn't know? Omo. Tony stretched his hand towards her. "Baby, no be like that now." Sandra hissed so loudly that it sounded like a tire burst. Tony, God go punish fake love. And just like that, she stomped past the crowd angrily, raining curses and dragging her wig and pink bag. Ifunanya leaned on the wall quietly with her arms folded, watching the scene unfold like an action movie. She didn't say a word because she didn't need to. Tony stood there frozen, watching Sandra disappear into the streets. The neighbors kept laughing, recording short videos and forwarding them to the community gist WhatsApp group. Chike slapped his back mockingly. Omo Tony, you dey live lucky lifestyle with Sister Eviction. God dey really do wonders for you, sha. By Saturday morning, Tony's disgrace from the previous night had grown legs, climbed ladders and traveled beyond their streets. Even Mama Chinyere, the market woman who lived 2 streets away, had already heard about the generator-sponsored love affair. Ifunanya woke up that morning relieved that Tony would never approach her for anything again in his life. From her window, she watched as he sat outside his room, staring at the dusty ground like a man who had failed WAEC 4 times in a row. Around afternoon, Sandra returned to the compound to collect the last of her belongings. She came armed with fire in her chest and insults on her tongue, refusing to let Tony breathe in peace. Tony, I just dey reason your life since morning o. So na Sister Ife generator dey power your soft life abi? Na borrowed fan dey blow my wig since. You no get dignity o. Tony tried to stand and explain, but Sandra was not done. You lie for me say na your generator, your fuel and your big man lifestyle. Tony, now poverty wey get pride dey worry you. The neighbors burst into laughter instantly. Some covered their mouths, while others openly clapped as Sandra dragged him mercilessly. Before leaving, she shouted one last time, and I beg, delete my number, big man on borrowed lights. Then she stormed out while Tony stood there swallowing invisible stones, wishing the ground would open and swallow him. By afternoon, the borehole zone, the headquarters of compound gossip, had transformed into a press briefing. Women purposely fetched water slowly so they could analyze the drama from every angle. Mama Bosse, now the proud chief strategist of Tony's disgrace, narrated the entire saga with exaggerated hand gestures. I tell una say make una shine una eye. Tony dey use Sister Ife generator power romance for Lekki club lifestyle. Imagine now. Sade pretended to be shocked for the 5th time that morning and gasped loudly. Ha! So all those mama sick stories na scam, and I even borrowed my stainless bucket last week. Oh, God forbid nonsense. Another neighbor rolled her wrapper higher on her waist and shook her head solemnly. Me, I know the pity man wey fit borrow generator for babe. That one no need prayer, na deliverance in need. The entire borehole crowd burst into laughter and forgot their buckets on the ground. By evening, Baba Landlord, a tall strict man who kept his face like someone constantly smelling kerosene, summoned Tony to his veranda. The entire compound pretended not to eavesdrop, but everyone stood suspiciously close. Tony, 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 Tony. How many times I call you? Tony muttered. 4 times, sir. Baba Landlord nodded. Good. That is how many weeks you get to pack out of this compound. 4 weeks. Tony's head snapped up in shock. Sir, pack out care. Because of small misunderstanding, Baba Landlord's voice deepened like thunder. Small misunderstanding? You almost caused riots for my compound with your foolish Friday club package. You dey borrow generator like scholarship. Disgrace dey flow like gutter water. And now, WhatsApp group don turn CNN because of you. Tony, go and disgrace somewhere else. I no do again. The neighbors who were eavesdropping couldn't hold it in anymore. Their laughter shook the corridor. By nightfall, the compound was peaceful for the first time in months. Tony's door stayed shut and his silence was sweeter than gospel music. Ifunanya sat outside her room sipping her chilled zobo, finally free from his manipulation. As Tony walked past her carrying his broken Bluetooth speaker, avoiding her eyes like a thief in daylight, she smiled sweetly at him. Tony, my dear neighbor, next time you need free generator, just remember one thing. Free thing dey sweet, but when it explodes, the sound dey loud pass Bluetooth speaker. Mama Bosse, who was passing with a keg of water, burst into fresh laughter that woke 3 sleeping children. And from that day on until he packed out, Tony's nickname officially became Mr. Borrowlight, a name that followed him to the market, the borehole, and even the barber shop down the street. Thank you for watching the story. Kindly share your thoughts about the story with me in the comment section. Give the story a thumbs up and share the story out with your loved ones. Subscribe to this channel for more interesting stories. Thank you and remain blessed.